Bad news. I was fired. Okay, well, not really fired. I lost my job because they're going to close down the building. But honestly, that doesn't really concern me. I'm actually pretty excited, which is something that you're probably not supposed to be when you lose your job. But this is a little bit different. So I want to share with you why I'm excited and how you can sort of set yourself up in a way that you are actually kind of excited to lose your job. Welcome back, Gray Man. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Today, what I want to talk about, like I said, is how losing your job can actually be a good thing, or how you can make the most of it, or how you don't have to worry about it. So last week I came into my building here and I saw people huddled around. I thought, well, that's kind of strange. I've got a weird vibe from that. And so I decided to go up and talk to them and be like, hey, what's going on? Everything going okay? And they informed me that they were going to close down the building. So everyone there is actually going to be losing their job. The building's going to be closed down in 30 days. So a lot of people have to find different jobs. Me, on the other hand, I'm not going to be doing that. And let me explain how that is. Now, I work in healthcare. And one of the things that are interesting about healthcare is that they have this position that's called a PRN position. Basically, it's as needed. So as they need you, if they need help, they're going to reach out to you. It's like an extra. They'll reach out to you, have you come into work if you can, and you can say yes or you could say no. For me, I've been very consistent with PRN with this building, and that's really been one of the sources of my income. Keep in mind, I have 3 kids back at home that I have to provide for. I've got a wife. I am the sole provider, and I need to be the one bringing in the money. And so there are 3 things I feel like that I've done that's really have set me up for this, have made it so that this isn't a concern of mine, and I want to share those 3 things. The first thing there is that, like I said, I am not full-time. Now, this is something that can be really difficult for people. It's something that maybe not everybody can do. With my line of work, it's actually pretty easy to do, especially around my area, because there's not a whole lot of people that can fill my position. But one of the things that I've done is really made an effort to broaden my horizons when it comes to working, to not give my loyalty to a single business or a single enterprise or whatever you want to call them. I don't have a single employer. I am not full-time, and that can be scary because a lot of people want that insurance. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But what I've done is I have 4 different buildings right now that I go to consistently, and I do the stuff that needs to be done there. And those are 4 different employers, right? If I lose a job here, like I have 3 other buildings to back that up. I have 3 other employers. And so I've really made an effort to make my points of failure, to maximize my points of failure, right? Because, you know, if I just have that full-time job, if I'm just working with one single employer, and they fire me and there's nobody else around, that kind of, you know, chops my legs off and I'm toast, right? I don't think that's a real expression. I don't think people actually say that. But with those 4 different buildings, if one gets taken away, that's not that big a deal. If I needed to, I could go find a 4th one, maybe bring in some weekend work or whatever, but I don't actually need to do that because I've set myself up in other ways. Now, like I said, that may be a little bit of a concern for some people. There's no short-term disability. If I get injured, I'm kind of screwed. If I have to go to the hospital, just being insuranceless, it can be very, very expensive. Again, that's addressed here in just a second. And it's not always a 40-hour work kind of thing, right? I'm not getting 40 hours every single week. So that can be kind of scary. Now, with that, we found some ways to sort of work around it, to sort of set ourselves up in a way that we don't have to worry about it. Specifically the insurance, right? Health insurance is something that's a little bit scary, right? Because you don't want to go into the hospital. It costs a lot of money. If you don't have insurance, it can be very scary. Now, the way that we've sort of circumvented this is we've done something called the Christian Health Share system, or CHM is what we use. There are several out there. I will link it down below with my referral code if you want to hop into something like that. But that's been huge for us. So just a little example here. We've had 3 kids. One of those kids was had when I had a full-time gig doing full-time healthcare work. That cost us about $5,000 to have a kid. That was our deductible. Crazy amount, especially with what we were paying for the premium. It was like $300 every paycheck. So like $700 a month, $350 or something like that. Crazy. After transitioning to this Christian Health Share, we've actually only spent, I think $500 for each of our kids. $500 compared to $5,000. And basically the premiums were the same. So really, it was a no-brainer for us. It's a no-brainer for us to continue to utilize this because, well, it's cheaper. It makes way more sense. I would never go back to full-time insurance because that's a hassle to begin, right? So with all the hassles, with all that taken out of there, we've hardly spent any money the past 2 kids. When our first kid, we were out $5,000. Absolutely ridiculous. So that's number one. To summarize all that, spread yourself out if you can. Spread yourself out to a bunch of different ways. Diversify your employment so that you're not loyal to one system, to one employer, because, you know, in the end, they're probably not going to be loyal to you. You're just a number. You're just an employee. Maybe in a small town, you can get away with some small business stuff, but like you're just a number for most companies. Number 2, this is sort of the reason that I started doing this. I've actually started a business on the side. I took a hobby that I really enjoy, that I was fairly good at, that I had some talent at. I'm not really good at anything. I'm just sort of average at most things, but I found a niche. I decided to make a YouTube channel, basically just showing off video games, sharing news, maybe doing some cinematics, doing some things that hopefully hold people's attention, and that's grown. Now, I started that about 5 years ago, 4.5 years ago, before my son was born. So I started it then, and what I did when I had a full-time job was I got up extra early, I stayed up extra late, I worked on those things, I figured things out, I studied the systems, and now I'm here. I've got about 200,000 subscribers, and that is soon to be a more full-time job, which is basically why I'm excited to leave this job, because that gives me one more day now, at least one more day, maybe even another day, to do content, right? Normally what I was doing was I was taking one day out of the week, Wednesday, and just doing that content, just focusing on that, and then doing things at night and in the mornings, which after 3 kids, waking up in the morning is very difficult. But now I've got those extra days that I've committed to this building that I can use for that. Very excited for that. I actually have a manager now. I've built up the channel to the point that I actually am bringing in a decent amount of sponsors, and that's been life-changing for me. But having 3 kids, a lot of my time has been cut off. So this gives me the opportunity to really put some more effort into that, to really dive into that, because not only do I get to be home more, I get to do exactly what I love. Like, I've been doing this for 4.5, almost 5 years, and I absolutely love it. I think it's so much fun to do stuff like this. And I get to help homeschool my kids, because we homeschool our kids. So those are all huge benefits of taking that time, doing the difficult work, spreading myself out, starting that business. I started it early so that stuff like this wouldn't actually matter. And for that, I'm thankful. And then to go along with that, with one more step, which kind of is part of the second step, which kind of is part of the first step, they all string together, okay? I'm not very good at lists. I've taken some of the revenue from the YouTube channel and have created a brand. I actually have a supplement brand, mostly energy drinks. That's what I push for, but there's some other supplements on there. But I made a physical product. I invested my capital into doing some research, into finding a provider or a supplier, I should say, and really finding something that people can tangibly enjoy. Now I have some other things that I want to do with the brand, but it's still a brand. And now I've taken another step to expand, to diversify a little bit. And so my point of this video is that if you can do it, you should do it. You should spread out your brand a little bit. You should develop something, like take a hobby that you love and try to basically monetize it. Try to optimize as much as you can so that everything you're doing, or the little things that you would normally be doing throughout the day, can be optimized into that system. Like, there are times that I can just be, I don't know, in between something at work and do something for my business, do something like write a script or something like that, or market to the people that I work with. I have several people that I work with that I've marketed my energy drink to that actually enjoy it. They pay me for that. So that's a really cool thing. And so what I would say is expand yourself as much as possible, to take those moments, especially if you have the energy to wake up early, to work hard, to stay up a little bit later, to provide for your family, provide for yourself, because to be honest, nobody's coming to save you, and nobody's going to take care of your family like you do. Nobody cares about your family as much as you do, which is why you need to not cripple yourself by putting your future into another company or another employer. So with that said, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. If you didn't, give it a dislike. Subscribe for more. And until the next one, be bold, be courageous, stay gray.